hope I could get through there. And hang on, is this? That looks like card games, but without the motorcycles. Could that be Yu-Gi-Oh? Nice. Right.
Whenever I have one, just interrupt me with a question.
I'm back.
The question was, am I a genius? And yes. Oh, wait.
Do you ever lose your voice having to do these over and over again screaming?
I almost lost my voice, but believe it or not, after all of that yelling and screaming, I never once lost my voice. It's pretty shocking. Like, a couple times it got pretty bad, but I never lost it completely. I knew lots of people who did, but for whatever reason, I was really lucky not to. Vegeta's voice sounds like this. It's crazy high, and he sounds a little bit different than Piccolo, who's always down here, and tells Gohan what to do. It's like, Gohan, go! Stay! Go! No, seriously, if you've ever noticed, that's Piccolo's only job, and he treats Gohan like a puppy. It's like, Gohan, stay! Good, Gohan. Go, do it! Do it! Don't do it! Don't do it now. Let's see. Yamcha is another character I played. He's like this kind of douchey baseball guy. He plays baseball for the... Do you know what, any of you people know, remember what the name of the baseball team that Yamcha plays for? Is it the Warriors? The Douches. I think he plays for the Douches. I can't.
Yeah, sounds like right.
But he spends a lot of his time playing with his balls by the end of the series because he's kind of a complete loser by the end. He was totally cool in Dragon Ball and then lost everything. So, yeah, other questions. Q's, A's. Hurley, do you have a question? Okay. Yes.
Do you prefer Zoro or Kurogane?
Oh, Zoro or Kurogane? Let's see. Wow. See, oh wow, that's hard to say. I'm a huge Zoro fan. I always really like Zoro. God, that's a hard one. I'm gonna have to actually go with Zoro over Kurogane. I'm sorry. I hope I didn't offend.
Who would win in a fight?
Between Zoro and Kurogane. Well, saying that like Kurogane really only has one sword, whereas Zoro has 3, and Kurogane has 2 swords, and Zoro has 3. Does he really have 2 swords? One is... Oh, he got one. Oh, but he didn't have them both at the same time, did he? Oh, so when he would fight, he would only really have one. But he does get his sword. Yes, Tomoya gives him his sword back eventually, right? Whew. I'm glad we cleared that up. Yay! Other Q's. Or show me your A's.
And how did you first get started in voice acting?
I first got started a billion years ago, but I didn't know I was really voice acting at the time. See, when I was growing up, I was born in like around 73. I know it wasn't 73, not just around, because I was born on that day, and I know that. But like in the early 80s, like nobody had caller ID or star 69 on their phone, so no one would know who was calling you. So I spent most of my childhood just on the phone calling people randomly and prank calling them and saying stupid things to them. That's where I kind of started voice acting. I was also grounded a fair bit because my mother was really weird about like things like grades and stuff. So I got grounded from television. And I remember a lot, I used to pretend I was listening to the radio because I'd have headphones on, but I would secretly watch the television through a reflection on the mirror in the fireplace. So I'd but I wouldn't be able to hear it very well because I had the headphones on. So that's where I started dubbing my own words into other people's mouths. I think that was my first experience doing that. And then my first real voice stuff was, I worked in radio for many years. I was a disc jockey on radio stations. My first real gig was for a rock and roll station in Houston called Rock 101 KLOL. And I didn't smoke pot back then. I mean, not that I do now, but back then the owners would like say, if you could, man, sound more stoned. Could you sound more stoned? And I didn't really know what they were talking about at the time, so I thought that just meant sound more bored. So everything was like Rock 101 KLOL, rock music, Alice in Chains next. By Gin Blossoms or whatever gay song comes after that. And then I was living in Denton, Texas, which is like this crazy kind of music town. There's some weird singing happening.
We can hear you.
That's a good thing, apparently. Okay, so yeah, and then I knew this girl who worked on for this company, this little tiny company that had like 2 employees. It was called Funimation Productions, and at the time there was nobody working there, and they were having these auditions to work on Dragon Ball Z, but we didn't know what that was at the time. So I came in, auditioned, I got the role of Yamcha, and Igor in this little. It was called Sleeping Princess in Devil's Castle. It was an old Dragon Ball movie. And that's where I started. That's where I got my first anime voiceover gig. And then I became huge and famous. I'm just kidding. I've never been. I'm only huge and famous in grocery stores and in anywhere video games are sold. I don't know what that means. Yes. Other cues. Any cues? Oh yes, there's one up here.
What's your favourite anime that you've watched in?
My favorite one right now, I'm kind of all about it right now, is called Sergeant Frog. Have you guys seen that yet? It's ridiculously funny. It's about this platoon of frogs, alien frogs, called Coronians, and they end up on Earth. They live in somebody's basement, and then the whole group of the frogs that are, the transport ship leaves without them, and leaves them there to destroy Earth. But they kind of are all a bunch of idiots, and kind of like the Earthlings a little bit, so they don't ever want to leave. And it's hysterically funny. I would highly recommend it to anyone. If you don't like it, then I will give you your money back. But you'll never find me, so screw it. What'd you say? You haven't heard of that at all? Yeah, it's definitely an anime, I promise. Or they pay me to do something, and they release some discs in the United States, but we have everything there. I'm just kidding.
We never get anime on time.
No, it takes a while. Because they had to put it on a boat to get here, apparently.
They carry it on snails.
All your anime has jet lag by the time it gets here. So it's just really slow and not funny. Much like Americans who come over to talk to you. Yes. Any other questions? Goodness me.
That's a good idea. I can't think of any questions.
Every time a new Dragon Ball Z video game comes out, I think you re-record everything for it, don't you?
Yeah, we do.
Do you get bored of that at all? Do you try to bring anything new to it? What's your take on it?
It actually doesn't bore me too much. I mean, to be honest, sometimes it gets a little boring because of how many files there are in the video games. So when you bring in somebody, especially someone like I don't know, Goku, for instance, the guy who plays Goku, Sean Schimmel. Well, the Japanese are, the way they design their games, since Goku and Gohan are voiced by the same person, they're still pretty lazy about it. we have to record every single line for Goku, no matter what form he's in. Like just regular form, or Super Saiyan, or Super Saiyan level 2, or Super Saiyan 3, like, and with Gohan, for instance, it'll be like every time Gohan changes clothes, they want us to do the entire list again. So, and it gets really, really boring because the voice doesn't change at all. They're like, all right, we just finished 2 hours of doing this, let's take a break and let's do it all over again. And it's all just simple stuff like, all right, 10 fighting reactions. Yeah. Ga. Hey. Ji. Ko. Ta. All right, now we need 5 medium punching reactions. Ha. Ka. Da. Ha. Suya. Tuya. Haya. I mean, it's just over and over and over again. But the cool thing is that about the games is that I get to see those Dragon Ball actors every year, once a year, which is awesome. Now that we're working on Dragon Ball Z Kai, though, because we're doing a new dub of that, I get to see them again, which is, I get to see them a lot. And it's been a trip to work on that. Like, imagine doing something 12 years ago, and everybody liked it for the most part. Some people thought it was absolutely terrible. And then you kind of agreed with some of those people that some of the stuff you did was kind of terrible because 12 years ago we really didn't know what we were doing. But because of that show, we worked for 12 more years, and now we get to dub it all over again. Which may sound like a huge task, but it's actually pretty awesome, because now we're really good at it. We can do it like 10 times faster and 10 times better than we did before. So it's kind of an honor, and it's really rad to do, so.
Yes, more questions, please. Yes. If you ask a really good question, I'll give you this.
This is probably worth $300 or something. I don't understand your change here. You've got so much of it. You guys are so rich.
Which character was the greatest challenge for you?
Which tentacle was the greatest challenge?
Greatest tentacle?
Which character? Okay. I have so much, like, I have a hard time hearing Americans and understanding them. It's even harder sometimes when I'm here. Which character is my favorite? Let's see. Yamcha is the easiest character to do because it's kind of it's just really cheesy. The hardest character to do is, let's see. The hardest character to do is Piccolo, because with Vegeta, it's easier to scream in his voice than it is Piccolo's. But Vegeta, I have to say, is my favorite character. Like, he's just an amazing character to play. And honestly, I like his ideas a lot. Then again, if the show had followed all of Vegeta's ideas rather than Goku's, it would have only been like 20 episodes long. I say we just kill them now. Okay. Done. Over. Roll the credits. Like, yeah, I'm on Namek. It's been a long time. Oh yeah, you could, yeah, hey, we're gonna, I have an idea. There's 10 of us, there's only one of that person. Let's just fight them one at a time. That seems like a really good idea. Until they're dead, and then we'll send somebody else in. That sounds like a really good idea. Vegeta's like, why don't we all pound them at once? No, that wouldn't make a lot of sense. Obviously, we should just do this one at a time. That makes the most logical sense. Let's see. Any other questions, or you want me to just start making them up? I can make up questions if you want.
What did you think of Dragon Ball Evolution?
Oh, wow. The Forbidden film.
Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Evolution was a groundbreaking film. In a sense where you might break ground when you're camping, to dig a hole perhaps, to go to the bathroom in it, you know? No, I shouldn't say that. As long as you're filming, I shouldn't say that. It was a wonderful film. Actually, I heard that when it ran in Japan, they ran an apology before it. It was sort of, it's like, it was sort of an explanation, like, be warned, this is not the Dragon Ball you love. It was so shocking to me. I went and saw Dragon Ball Evolution with the writer, with the head writer, John Berkmeyer. He plays the voice of Tien, and a few other people. And we were taking bets as to how many people were going to be in the theater by the time the movie started, because like nobody really was there. And I almost won because there were 14 people in the whole theater, but then 4 people left, like right after it started, because they, I don't know, they was like, whoa, this is the wrong movie or something. But it just shocked me though, because Dragon Ball is the coolest, most redeeming thing about Dragon Ball is that there's 50,000 characters. And yet, they're like, oh, we have to make up new people. You know, they're in this training sequence or something. I'm like, oh, no way. Is that going to be Mr. Popo? No, he's just like James Jenkins, trainer or whatever. You know who I'm talking about? You know that scene where like they go to see like the Oracle or something, and there's that like tough-looking black dude. I'm like, oh yes, if they do that to Mr. Popo, that's the coolest thing ever. And of course not. They didn't. Yeah, wonderful. I actually used to joke about how that they just released the Dragon. They already released a much better Dragon Ball Z live-action movie, and it wasn't made in Japan. It was made in it was a kind of a U.S. movie, and it was called Matrix Revolutions. That is the Dragon Ball Z movie. I mean, what else do you want? In fact, I really did see it as I was watching. Like, this is Dragon Ball. This is gum, by the way, so don't get any stupid ideas. I got fresh breath now. Yes.
Hi, all your voices, act voices, are like all manly. So what made you do Ayami Soma from Fruit Baskets, who's like all, oh, let's reprise this dress and stuff like that?
Oh, I was thinking, well, I love doing all these, tough, huge, awesome voices. I might as well gay it up a bit. No, I'm just kidding. That was kind of a shock. She's asking about Ayame Soma, if you guys had, like, basically, if you look at my resume, it's just like, this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, I have a sword, this dude, I have muscles, and then Ayame Soma. Oh, yes, I love it, it's so fantastic. Yeah, when they gave me that role, I was like, are you serious? I'm like, you realize I don't even know what I'm doing here. But surprisingly, I thought I pulled it out okay. That was a really weird role. If you haven't seen Fruits Basket, I recommend it, especially if you wear panties. High school rules. Wait, did you say high school rules or high school girls? Okay, I don't understand anything. Any more tentacle questions?